right, so these are the 4 bolts here that we're gonna take apart. We just need a 1/2-inch wrench. This is a number 6 millimeter. I'm not sure if it's because of the rust that it's actually metric, but couldn't get the SAE to fit in there. So likely what's wrong is the gearbox, but again, we're just gonna take the motor off it because we're gonna need to do that anyway. You're gonna want to get like a ratchet strap or something to hold this up once you get it apart. So we'll have to go get that in a second. And then because I knew it was an arch rotate fail, I went and grabbed every part I could need. So I got the motor here, I got the gearbox here, and I got the proc switch there. So any of the things that could have gone bad to cause this error, we've got with us today, so we don't have to make multiple trips. So yeah, I'm gonna go get that ratchet strap so we can have something to support the motor, and then we'll take those 4 bolts out and we'll be back when we have all that tied up. Okay, so we just used a screwdriver to go around the edge once we got the bolts out, and we took that out, or we got it off. So now I've just got a ratchet strap hooked up to the top bar and then wrapped around itself and then back on here. And that way this thing isn't gonna, I mean, it can go a little, but there's not that much torque to where it's gonna go away. Now, this has got some grinding in it, but it doesn't seem totally screwed up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the thing in there. So what I'm doing is I got the adapter onto the gearbox and I'm just spinning it by hand. And it actually feels really smooth. You know, we want, you know, if you watch this thing turn, it's a 50-to-1 gearbox. So every 1 turn of this portion, or for every 50 turns of this portion, we're gonna get 1 turn of the arm. What's up? All right, sorry, I had a customer there. So we were turning that, the gearbox from the inside manually, and it felt nice and smooth. So what we're gonna do now is, since we got the remote here, we're just gonna hit arch rotate, and this thing is all secured up. And we should hear the grinding that we were hearing before. Gotta put it back in manual. Okay, you hear that? So that's definitely the motor and not the gearbox, which is good because this gearbox is a pain in the ass to change. I'm not even sure how to do it. So it's a good thing we didn't have to change that, although it would be an adventure. All right, so that is good news. Then we are just going to open the plate cover, get the wiring off, and then just put our new motor in. And then we should be back up and running. Okay, so we got the motor put back on to the thing so we can get the plate cover off. Now, these screws typically do not come out. They're Phillips and they're steel. So what we're gonna try and do is just take our screwdriver and hit the back of it with a hammer to try and shock them loose a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we'll give that a shot and see if that can get us where we need to be. But that's just a little tip. It might work, it might not. I'll let you know when we try. All right, so as you can see, we had to grind them off. That's the quickest way to get them. Literally, it takes like 3 or 4 seconds. Since we're not going to rebuild this motor because it's just shot. You know, and I think all it has to do with is the moisture getting into these boxes, and then these holes clogging up with shit, and then the moisture just gets in through here, and then the whole thing goes to shit. So all we're gonna do is pop off these 3 wires here and our ground, and then we'll take that wire out, and then we'll put our new gearbox up, and then wire it up, and then we should be done. The one thing I do want to mention on this here is it's a 9/32. I don't have a nut driver for that, so I just run my little 1/4-inch socket set for these. So just so you know, you're going to need the 9/32 socket to get these wires off. All right. Okay, so this motor that I have is set up for the trolley or the carriage. Now I read the nameplate and they're all the same specs. So what we're gonna do is, these are modular. So this here, we're just gonna take it because it's meant to be mounted vertically. It's meant to be mounted vertically, so that was going out the top. But if you'll notice on this side, it's coming out the side. So we're just going to take this one and rotate it this way. And you need both hands, but you see we can just unscrew it and then screw it back on. So I'm just gonna screw this back on facing this way, and then we'll be back when we're putting it up top. Okay, so again, anytime we install a new motor, we're gonna put never sees around the mounting face. In this particular circumstance, we don't need to do the shaft because the shaft goes into that plastic hub there, so there's no, it's never gonna seize. So we're gonna do around this, and then we're also going to do our screws for the plate cover, so that hopefully we can get those off when the time comes. So yeah, we'll never seize this, and then we'll get it mounted up on the shaft, and then we'll be back. All right, so we have our motor mounted. I do have the wrong bolts in here. The local store did not have stainless with that type of head, so I'm gonna have to go to Fastenal, get rid of these hexes so I can put that other style back in. But we have our wires in red, white, black as they were before. I know up here is white, red, black, so we're gonna test it and make sure that it spins the right direction. But before we do that, we're gonna clean up all of our tools here, and then we're just gonna leave the cover off for now, just because we're not gonna spray any water. We're gonna test the direction in which it spins. If our wiring is correct, it will spin counterclockwise. If our wiring's incorrect, then the arm is going to spin clockwise. Just check that in a second, right after we clean up. All right, so here we go. We're going to go arch rotate, and there we go. That looks good to me, so we'll just put the plate cover back on. We'll never seize those screws, and then we'll test the truck.